Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today for another Sparkle and Shine interview series. I am so happy to have Lee Lonitz here with us this afternoon to talk about life and business. And, you know, the theme for this month in July is about honoring and celebrating, relaxing and lounging. And so we'll talk about that a little bit as well, because, you know, in business, we can't just be business without a little bit of the other stuff. We've got to celebrate, we've got to lounge, and we've got to chill and relax and just breathe sometimes. But for those of you who don't really know me, or maybe you're a little newer, I'm Kendall Patton of Me Organ Content Creation Services. And what I do is I help business owners and entrepreneurs to repurpose their content so that they can reach more in less time. They can have greater visibility and maximize their time, energy, and the content that they're already producing. So we, once again, are here for the Sparkle and Shine interview series, and we have Lee Lonitz here with us. And so Lee, I am so thankful that you're here. Could you please just tell everybody a little bit about you, what your business is, and let's get started.
Thank you so much, Kendall, for having me here, and good afternoon to you, and good morning from California, coming at you live from Silicon Valley. My name is Lee Lonitz. I'm a social media coach and strategist, keynote speaker, ghostwriter, and upcoming video personality, thanks to lovely people like you, Kendall. So what I do in a nutshell real quick is I help businesses grow using the power of social media. I'm all about helping your business, whether it's a solopreneur, small business, or even larger businesses now, attract your audience, boost your brand, and create community all around the power of social media marketing through my social media marketing strategy planning, as well as my ghost writing. So I understand that there's a lot of fear and stress around social media nowadays with all the tools out there. So what I tell everybody is that, hey, if you get the jitters when you're using Twitter, if you're all over the place with a poker face, if you give a damn about using Instagram for your business, if you feel like crap using Snap, if you're feeling chagrin using LinkedIn, if you feel like a noob using YouTube, then come and talk to me. I'm here to help. So how's about that? Was that in the ballpark?
I love that, Lee. And I love the way you just make it so fun and you just have all the rhymes. I mean, there you are as a speaker right there and a presenter, because you made it fun and engaging. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about you. And I'm glad to have met you in the online space. You have such great energy and knowledge that, you know, it's hard sometimes to know, oh, is this person good for me or not good for me? Are they really going to work well for me in my business? Are they really going to help me? And you bring, like I said, just such an energy and such knowledge to the space that it's really nice to have met you and to know you. And of course, to have you here to share with my audience and just kind of just talk for a little bit. So one of the things I like to do or ask my interviewees, Lee, is what brought you to the online space? And I know that can be kind of a tricky question actually for you, because you specialize in social media. So the question could be, what brought you to the online space? Or maybe we could take it from a different angle. And why is it that you decided to focus on social media and social media strategy specifically?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question. So I'm just going to do a quick rewind back to the early 90s when, you know, the internet was just coming up online. You know, you might have been there as well. That's where a lot of us get our start. So I'll make this really quick in a nutshell. So rewind back to early 1990s, internet was coming up, and I was working as an engineer for a big tech company. I was there for about 5 to 10 years, 10 years actually. And about halfway through my work period there, I started developing an interest in the internet. I was doing web design actually to start for small mom and pop businesses on the side. A number of my coworkers actually had side businesses, bed and breakfasts, growing homemade organic produce at home. And so I just was kind of dabbling in web design on the side while, you know, still working full time. And I did it on a volunteer basis. I think I did get paid a little bit on one client. And you know, after that, it's just like I really got into it. And then when the .com boom came around, you know, and there was like .com this and .com that, and I got my very first Palm Pilot. I don't know if you remember what a Palm Pilot was. today people are like, what's a Palm Pilot? It's
I
like,
actually have one. Like, I don't use it anymore, but we actually have one at the house. Nobody uses it, but it's definitely there.
so I don't know. Comments in the field below if you have a Palm Pilot, if you remember what a Palm Pilot is, or a hand frame. But anyways, I was really getting into that, and I actually had transferred divisions into a software development division doing web development for the company. And so while I was doing that at work full time, on the side, I was still doing web design on the front end, doing front end design. So in 2007, there were layoffs, and I made it through 3 hoops before it was my time to go. And by then, I had decided that I was ready to form my own company and really take my creativity to a whole new level. And at the same time, I absolutely love helping people. And back then, web design was almost a dime a dozen. And there were a lot of people out there who I felt were doing my industry a disservice. I was really passionate about web design, and I also love to help people. So I fused those two together into a company called Design Foresight, and it started off in web design in Silicon Valley. And then along the way, about maybe 5 years later, again, this, you notice the pattern. These things tend to run in numbers of 5 for some reason. And it's 2019 right now, so I don't know, better like look around. So around that time, well, actually, the math doesn't add up, right? 2012, 2017. Anyways, so social media, when Facebook was coming into the landscape, I just decided to hop on that, play around with it. And my first social media tool was Facebook, like most people's. And, back then, that was when Facebook was, probably a lot easier to use. It was all about who's my friend, who am I going to throw sheep at, who am I going to like pillowcase at, things like that. And so after that, just started really getting into it. I still ran my business, and then I started adding social media into it. And then I developed a passion, a niche, and a forte in it as well. A lot of business owners were coming to me with, feeling confused, stressed, burdened by Facebook, and then by Twitter, eventually Instagram, etc. So I just brought that together, and voila, here we are today, helping people in both web design and social media to achieve their objectives and promote that visibility and that engagement online.
It's such an important industry. I mean, social media by itself today is actually an industry. Like, whoever would have thought? Let me tell you something. I was around with the internet coming into the boom in the 90s, and I remember the first computer, and I remember I remember actually in college being as part of a course, like not a technology course, but like in my major field, that there was part of a course, because the internet was becoming such a thing, that there was a section, and we had to like create a static HTML page. Like, that is what I remember. So I totally know what you're talking about, and it's so funny to just sometimes just reflect back and think, social media is its own industry? What is this thing? And even for those of us who work in the online space, and for those of us who use social media or try to use social media for our business, and it is so complicated, and it just gets more and more complicated almost by the second. Like, it used to say, oh, like every other month or every week it gets a little more it's almost by the second that things become more and more complicated. And the more I know that you could go all sorts of deep into this, Lee, but we'll try to keep it kind of surface for our viewers today. But with the advent, or advent isn't the word, but with the push, or the focus, maybe is a good point, on this AI, artificial intelligence, like just rising up more and more and more, it's only making social media that much more complicated. And in some ways, that much more difficult, or confusing, or frustrating, or all those things, like mind blowing, like just, oh my gosh, not today. And then like, we also have to battle with our service providers, our internet service provider, or the server that we're using, the server of the social media companies. Everybody's dealing with this all together at the same time. It's funny, because just the other day I said to my husband, I said, you know what? it baffles me that as a country, right? I'll just put this off on a country thing, although it's not like the country's fault, right? The country is just land, but we'll just say country. So we want to get more and more people online, right? We want to get all these services online. We want to get all these things happening online, and yet we seem, that industry sort of seems to prepare, but also still falls very short in a lot of ways. And that is just so confusing, complicated, which only makes understanding social media that much more difficult, right?
Mm-hmm. I think that technology, like you said, it's continuing to evolve, and we're trying to take advantage of it as entrepreneurs, as businesses, to leverage that technology to further advance business objectives. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. There's a bane to it as well. The more advanced technology you get, the more complicated it gets. So as you rightly mentioned, sometimes web servers will go down, or computer servers that serve social media pages, and that just comes with the par for the course. We're dealing with AI, like you mentioned before. There's going to be its own web unto that, no pun intended. So yeah, I mean, we're as we advance more, technology becomes more robust, then yeah, there's going to be more challenges in leveraging that technology to use for our businesses, as well as balancing it out into how we employ that in our own lives, because it's understandable that most of us are very technology dependent in today's society. Anywhere from like your Amazon Echo to, I don't know, for people who wear like smart watches, to just simply our cell phones that we carry around every day like a third hand.
Yeah. And so in talking about this and in sort of highlighting some of these difficulties, I think it fits really well with like our theme this month, is about lounging and relaxing and honoring and celebrating. And so when we are running a business, or maybe we're not running a business and we're just, we follow business owners because we're on social media. But how do we make all this work in a way that we can honor where we are today, or celebrate, maybe is a better word for people, to celebrate where we are today and what we have going on, and relax and still deal with all these frustrations? How do we do that, Lee? Tell us.
Well, I think the first thing, that's a very deep question there. I think the first thing is to, in my humble opinion, is to realize that technology is not meant to replace people or what we do. It's meant to help augment, to advance, to help. So that being said, looking for ways to leverage technology in order to make your life easier, whether it's in personal life or as in your business life. This involves everything, something simple as like, having like a schedule online, like for those people who use like Google Calendar or Calendly, to using like, the notifications on your phone for like your phone alarm, to, using virtual conferencing, like the way we are here. Even, fast forward up to, if you want to go heavy about it, there's a lot of talk about like people are fearsome of having artificial intelligence replacing jobs, and I'm in the camp where I don't see AI and robotics as being a replacement for humans, as much as helping to augment and put human beings into places where they can honor what they really want to focus on. Maybe, for example, some people don't want to focus on boxing up products on a line, on a conveyor line. They would rather be taking their creative energies and their talent to doing maybe planning for their company. And so this is an area where a technological advancements like AI and robotics can jump in and be a part of the solution. So thinking about how to make technology a part of a solution, not a replacement to a challenge that you're having in honoring whatever it is important to your daily life is the key.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I don't know if you do this, Lee. I know a lot of people do, and I know a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, how the benefits of something like meditation, right? And I don't know about other people, but for a very, very long time, I had this understanding that meditation was something that it doesn't have to be, as I've learned. But because of technology, there are apps now that we can download, we can put on our phone, or we can go, there's even stuff I've seen, I haven't used them, but I have seen some people put meditative type things on YouTube even. And so people can now start to at least look into what is this whole thing about meditation. And I know that that's what happened with me. I was like, okay, so reading about meditation isn't really helping me, but I do want to know, have a better understanding of what this is. And so I discovered, oh, there's some apps, and I use it. Now there's an app I use literally every day. It's almost like a competition with myself. If I miss a day, then I have to start my count over, like how many days I've meditated in a row. But that is all because of the use of technology. And, there's other things, trackers, you mentioned people who wear like smartwatches and stuff like that, these different ways that we track things. So I love the way you said, just use it as a way to augment or to integrate is a really good word, I think, in some ways. Or just to work with, for instance, here you are in California. I'm all the way over on the East Coast. We are literally on total opposite sides of the country, and yet we can have a conversation. We can meet each other, we can speak to each other, we can see each other, we can have this conversation and continue to connect as people and as business owners, and we can help others. I don't know who's going to see this. It's going up on the internet, so anybody anywhere can see it.
Better be people who actually have their technology turned on.
Yeah. So
the mice like in the back.
Yeah, I know, right?
Move faster, mice. Move faster.
But I know that there is, I know, and I'm sure that you've seen it, and I'm sure even in some ways you've probably dealt with it, especially because you do social media strategy, and you run a business yourself. But I know there's a lot of talk about people trying to find that balance between being on social media or utilizing social media and still living in a way that, yeah, we can augment or assist or, come alongside with technology, and we can use it in our lives and in our businesses and our families and different things like that. Mm-hmm. But we can also get stuck to it. So how do we draw that line? Or more accurately, because I don't know about you, although I'm pretty sure about this is true about you, I don't like to make too many overgeneralizations and put everybody in the same box. So let's talk about how you, as a social media strategist, an online business owner, a website designer, a speaker and a writer, and a video personality, let's talk about how you separate and draw those lines and create those balances, maybe like for yourself in your own life. And so what do you do when you're not doing social media? So that's like a double question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if I understand correctly your question, so basically it's balance. It's about balancing, right? So I literally juggle a half a dozen balls at any particular time, and I think what it actually comes down to something more germane, excuse me, beyond technology stuff. It's about what's important to you and being able to prioritize in life, being mindful. So let's go to meditation. So for example, part of meditation is forcing you to be mindful for a period of time. And so I come from a family where my mom actually taught me all about mindfulness. She was a Buddhist. And so I learned to practice meditation and mindfulness through her and through her mentors. So I actually took that into my business and where it comes down to strategizing, for social media or taking care of clients or doing web design or going out to a speaking engagement like this, for example. I try to focus on, prioritizing in the moment. Well, what's important to me, and then focusing on that right there. Because, if you start thinking about, I got to do this and I got to do that, and then all of a sudden your mind is just a big old circus, like, la, 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 just, so just basically, I don't know if I answered your question correctly, but I just try to figure out, okay, well, what's important in the moment, what's important after that, and then how can I reach that point to accomplishing those things in a day, and then what I can't do on a particular day, it's scheduled for another day in the week. We all it's cliche, it's passe. We all want to slay, but we only have 24 hours in a day, so you got to be realistic about it, okay?
Yeah, no, but I do a similar thing, as I'm sure you know, and lots of people in the online space know, I have 3 kids, right? My kids are literally home with me all the time. Well, actually right now, Papa has them. They all went to the store. But basically, my kids are always home because we also homeschool. So I am surrounded by children all the time, and I really can never get away from it. And no matter how much I may want, but it is about that mindfulness and sort of balancing and sort of finding what is necessary right now. My husband was like, hey, I need to go do this thing. I said, well, I have this interview at, this afternoon. And so that might be a good time for you to go. And so that's how we prioritize that. And I love the way you highlighted it in terms of being just, whether people want to use the word present or mindful or meditative or, paying attention or awareness, any of those words is really the key, at least what I found, and many of the people that I talk with and that I see online. One of the things that we all find is to have a strategy, but how do you have a strategy if you're not as sure what's going on? And that's what you said. What do I need to do before? What do I need to do during? What do I need to do after? Okay, let's do those things, and then we'll move along through the day with a level of, I don't know, serenity, maybe, or calmness. I like the word serenity a lot, but just sort of that calm, that peace, that presence of ourselves and what it is that we've got going on. And so I love the way you highlighted it in that way, Lee. And but let's talk about the strategy piece. Like, let's share with the audience at least one quick, easy kind of tip or idea that they can do to try to create some of their own strategy if they're wanting to use social media in their business.
Okay, so that's easy right there. And you might have gotten, or if those people were kind of getting the vibe, you might kind of get that glimpse into it, excuse me. But I always begin with the end in mind. This goes for any clients who are thinking about using social media for your business. It's not enough. We all know that we need to be on social media for our businesses, but in this day and age, it's not enough to just post and go. You have to think about what do you want to accomplish in the end besides, well, I want more business. Well, I want more customers. Think about it more granularly from your business. What kind of customers do you want following you on your social media, like what we call your ideal target audience, your ideal demographic? Where are they located? How big of an audience do you want to grow, and how often? What kind of products or brands or services do you want to get out in front of your audience? So it's very easy to get excited and into the moment of being on social media and jumping right on it and just starting to post and go into autopilot and just kind of go with that. So I always tell people, start with the end in mind. Think about what your goals are for the next, say, like 3 months or 6 months, and go from there. Think about the target audience who you're trying to reach out to. Are they located locally? Are they worldwide? Are you Mr. or Mrs. Worldwide? Is it a product-based service? Is it a service-based business? Are there any compliance or restrictions that you'll face in your particular industry? For example, if you're in the finance, if you're in legal, if you're in health, these are all things that one wants to take into mind and decide upon there. So I absolutely love working with business owners, getting on social media, and I do my best work when I know that my clients actually have, one, decided that yes, I'm going to be on social media, and two is they know they got an idea of the end in mind right there, and that way I can sit down with them and formulate a strategy on how to get from point A to point B over those 3 months or 6 months.
That's an excellent tip, and one that I think is so important. I think so many of us as business owners, struggle with that. Like, what is our goal? So we have a goal, but how do we get there? How do we make those steps? And how do we do that? And so I think that's an excellent tip, and definitely something that needs to be used on social media, because jumping into social media and just being there and or trying to be there and trying to be seen and trying to be heard and all of that stuff is a lot more difficult than it looks like. Social media is fun. It most certainly can be fun. But you can go a whole lot of nowhere if there's no strategy behind it. And so that's why I think what you do is so, so valuable. And I appreciate you sharing that quick tip with us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's just like I was just thinking, I'm a big fan of the World Cup. I don't know if you watched the World Cup, and the Women's World Cup was just on. And it's just like, you wouldn't jump onto a soccer field with a ball there without knowing what to do, right? Like, hello, like that being like, where they start shouting, goal, right there. There's a reason why we do that, because you're supposed to get the ball in the goal. That's where the goal is. So you don't want to get on the field of social media without knowing, okay, well, where is this ball supposed to go?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy. And yeah, I wouldn't jump into any sports that I didn't play sports. I marched in the marching band when I was in high school. So don't even get me started. I don't even know. I have no idea. And I mean, I've watched sports, but really I have no idea. So that is a perfect example, and I think one that most people can relate to.
But you have to know where to march, right? In a marching band, you got to know where the marching band is going to end up, right? You got to know who are you playing for, where are the stands located, what your role is to the rest of your marching brigade. How loud do you have to be? Where are you supposed to look, left or right? So there are things to that as well. So don't go into social media autopilot. Be strategic about it.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very good. Well, that's really good, Lee.
Okay, in the cloud. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm here every Friday.
Okay, well, I know that we're kind of wrapping up here a little bit, but I do have something called the Starlight Round of Questions. And I ask all my interviewees, it's sort of a surprise, but I ask all my interviewees if they're willing to participate. I have 3 questions. I think they're pretty surface level, but they also have an element of deep in them. But the only caveat is, if you choose to participate, you have to answer with the first thing that pops in your head. There is no editing. Do not self-edit. I will catch you and I will pull you out.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so let's go. Today, I'd like to know, what is your biggest life or business challenge right now? How would you like to see that change, and how can we help you?
Okay, so biggest one right out there is visibility, getting back out onto that big field like the marching major that you are, Kendall. So, I do have a lot of peeps who follow me, but, I want to create my own empire. I want to get out and help more people. This is going to be a good empire. I'm not going to tell everybody what to do. I'm going to help you. So how can you help me make that happen? Is if you find value in anything that I've shared to help you with social media, whether it's during this broadcast or maybe it's in something you've seen online with me as well, other videos or locations, then please feel free to share that information along and invite your friends as well to join into those discussions. And let's talk right here, because I'm a big believer that you're only going to use social media as long as it's fun and you can stick with it as well. And so my job right there is I'm trying to inspire people. That's what I love to do. I want to inspire people so that they feel empowered to use social media for whatever floats their boat, whatever they're trying to accomplish in their life, whatever's important to them, to honor their inner self.
Awesome.
Did I answer the question?
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And that is such a big challenge when we're running our businesses. And it's a big challenge in our life, because we have to somehow balance that without always being online. And again, that goes back to that strategy. Okay, question number 2. Tell me what one of your biggest personal changes was in growing or building your business.
One of my biggest personal changes in growing or building my business was understanding that there's going to be challenges along the way. It's actually funny, because I was talking about this last week in another broadcast as well. And that is that when people get started with businesses, there's that excitement. It's kind of like a honeymoon phase, and then reality sets in. When you're married to your business, and so you get to join the ranks of everybody else who are married to their businesses with all the rights, happiness, and the misery, well, not the misery, but the challenges thereof. So I think it's important to realize that that it's not all a bed of roses. Like, every rose has its thorn, right? God, I feel really old because I'm using a guitar. Anyways, yeah, you have to. There are going to be challenges along the way. So having understanding that, realizing that, and then leveraging a community, a village of supportive entrepreneurs, having your own peeps around you to help you push through those times when you really need somebody to talk to. So when you feel like giving up, I'll tell you that, I'm actually in my 12th year of business, and there have been times over the years where I've had that question, like, did I go down the right path? Do I still want to continue? Sometimes I've had my give up moments, but then, every time I'll talk to a friend or a family member, and I'll ask myself the same question as well. And every time it's always the same answer. If I had to do this all over again, would I do it? And the answer always was yes, right there. So that's how you know that you're on the right track.
Yeah, and I love that analogy of like a marriage or something like that, because it's kind of like raising kids. Or I'm married and have kids, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know, what in the world did I get myself into? But then I look and I'm like, you know what? But this is actually really good, and it's just part of the process. And so let's just understand it's part of the process, and let's find a way to work through it and work around, not around it. I believe in working through things. But let's find a way to work through it. Let's find a way to just kind of figure out how it is that we're going to move forward from here. And yes, we absolutely have to do that in business. I think that's a really big personal change. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Well, I actually believe that, if I can add to that real quickly, is that, a business is in a way kind of like a child, for lack of a better word. It's like it's an entity unto itself. You're creating it, and then you are nurturing it into existence. You're trying to help it along. And then, the natural evolution is a business is supposed to grow. And then somewhere down the road where you're ready to take a different path, whether you're ready to retire or you're willing to sell off the business, if you want that business to keep going, you have to have it set, for life, essentially. So one of my mentors is Bradley Sugars from Action Coach. And one of the things that I learned through him a long time ago was that, businesses are meant to run on their own. So, once you put that into existence, it has to be able to grow and to, mature on its own until, somebody else wants to take the herald of that, take the reign of that.
Yep, perfect analogy, and that's such an important lesson. It's so cool that that you learned that lesson earlier on in your business, and we can tell how you've been trying to apply that through the life of your business, and all the different evolutions. So thank you for not just your answer, but also that other tip, like that piece of knowledge from one of your mentors. All right, so last question before we fully wrap up today's interview. What is your biggest dream goal this year?
I'm sorry, what is my biggest dream goal this year?
Yeah, dream goal.
My biggest dream goal this year is to go back to my home state of Hawaii. So so for those of you who don't know, I was actually raised in Hawaii for about 9 years. I grew up there, and I consider that my home state. I've lived in a number of places around the U.S., and I left for the mainland in like 1982, and I've only been back, I think, 4 or 5 times, about the times I count on my hand. So I'm excited to get back there and get back to my childhood, go visit some of my childhood places again, because I haven't been back to Oahu. It's Oahu specifically, in like I think like 6, 7 years or so, maybe longer than that. So I'm absolutely thrilled about that. And just going out there and spending time and enjoying, reconnecting with my childhood, looking up to old childhood friends. Yeah, and just enjoying it.
Awesome. That's such a great dream goal. And I totally understand it. My home state in the U.S. is Utah, and I have not been back since. My family and I moved away from there when I was smaller. So I totally get it. And one of my dream goals in life is to go back out there and to just really kind of explore it, but through the eyes of an adult, through the eyes of somebody who can go and like do a lot of stuff. So I totally get that. Thank you so much, Lee, for being on the show with us today. But before we go, we've got to know, where do we find Lee Lonitz, the social media strategist? Where do we find him, and what are we going to do when we get there?
Okay, so it's pretty easy. All you got to do is go online to my website at www.leelonitz.com. So that's LeeLonitz.com. You can also look me up on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Lee Lonitz. I'm also on Twitter at twitter.com/Lee Lonitz. I'm on Instagram at, you can kind of fill in the blanks here, .com/Lee Lonitz right there. So you just look me up, and when you get there, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you like my Facebook page, or that you follow me on Twitter, or you follow me on Instagram. And after that, finally drop me a comment or a hello. Let me know how you found out. Let me know you came from this particular broadcast. And when you do that, I'll give you 10% off whatever service that you need.
Oh my gosh, Lee, that is incredible. Thank you for offering that to the audience. I'm sure that people are ready to jump on that, especially if you're running a business and you want to get into social media or better understand social media and create a strategy so that you can progress in your business, and your business can begin to grow more and run on its own, as Lee's mentor shared with us, or as Lee shared with us from his mentor. So we will make sure that all of those links are dropped below in the comments, Lee. We want everybody to go find Lee, find him on his website, find him on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I listed them, right? Okay.
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me on LinkedIn as well. And I'm just started getting into TikTok as well. So if you want to follow me on TikTok.
Wow. Okay. So we are going to drop all of this below. We're going to make sure, I want you to click on them and go check them out, like them, follow them. And if you've got any questions, any comments, anything like that, make sure that those are below. If you hit us up on the replay, please let us know. Wave to us, say hi. Let us know something that interested you, something that you have a question about, or something that was really helpful for you in life and or business. Once again, this is Kendall of New Organic Content Creation Services. Entrepreneurs and small business owners hire me to repurpose their content so that they can maximize what they've already created, maximize their time and energy, and grow their following, have a greater reach and more visibility. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you again, Lee. I appreciate you being here. Everyone have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.